India is marching ahead. They say an army marches on its stomach. I would say a country in the present day marches on its industrial base. Our industrial base is slowly and steadily improving. But this slow and steady improvement, in fact, is too slow. Maybe I am impatient. Maybe I am an unrealistic. Yet I cannot admit that our industrial progress is fast enough. Far from it, to some of us, the progress seems to be miserably slow. To others, just slow. Be it as it may, it cannot be denied that it could have been faster. And in future, it should be faster. We have sometimes to run even to stay where we are. Merely moving on, however slow, will not do. Our movements must be brisk. They must be dynamic. They must be result yielding. Let us pull our full weight in one direction. Why our industrial progress is not fast enough? There is, of course, a complexity of factors involved. Most important of all is the attitude of the manufacturers themselves. We may blame the government, and it is quite in fashion today to blame the government for the various wrongs. It is just like blaming our parents for our inability to succeed in life. The truth is that if we do not succeed or succeeded less in life, it is primarily because we did not put in the right effort at the right time. Our parents can only provide proper surroundings and atmosphere for the training and development of our caliber and potential. The rest is all in our own hands. Similarly, for the industrial development of India, the government can and should provide proper atmosphere to enable it to flourish. But each individual unit has to pull its weight. Each manufacturer has to develop a constructive attitude of mind. Each unit must analyze its own problems and adopt better methods and positive means to solve these problems purposefully and profitably. This calls for ingenuity, determination, and objectivity. We in India are all very keen to develop our economy, and rightly so. We all make strong pleas for industrial development, higher productivity, better wages for workers, and all that goes with it. But one thing which is really vital for our success, we deliberately turn a blind eye to. It is consumer orientation in our product. We are completely obvious of providing necessary service to the consumer. We forget that each industry exists to satisfy a specific need of the consumer. What we remember is that the industry exists to make profit. This is in fact like putting the cart before the horse. If we remember and endeavor to satisfy the consumer, we automatically ensure our profit. If the consumer is satisfied with what we offer him, he is bound to buy it again and more of it. This is bound to yield increased turnover, economics of scale, reduced overheads, and ultimately better profitability. Thus, it is the consumer satisfaction which is the real determinant for greater industrial progress. But the consumer today is more honored in misleading him than in providing him real service and satisfaction. This is the irony of the situation. We produce what we like to or can produce. We do so because in the present context anything sells. Ours is mostly a seller's market. The manufacturers are more or less in a dominant position. They can talk from a position of strength. They can dictate to the consumer, dictate the quality of the goods, the price, the availability, the service after sales, and all the rest. They are, in fact, the kings instead of the consumer being the king. This, according to the established marketing principles, is the reversal of roles. The ruler is being ruled. The manufacturers may have many reasons to explain and justify their attitude. And do not we know we can always find a good reason for not doing a thing. The manufacturers have a number of grim facts to examine as to why they cannot afford being consumer oriented. Their raw material difficulties, their worker problems, their old machinery which they are unable to replace, the credit squeeze, the profit squeeze, all make an impressive reading. And personally, I have sincere sympathy with them, but I am unable to reconcile to their lack of sympathy for the consumer. Whatever the difficulties, however hard they may seem to be, there is never any justification for not providing maximum service to this consumer. There is no excuse whatever for relaxing quality control standards, either in purchasing raw material or in releasing finished goods for sale. There is no justification at all for not improving the service or satisfaction to the consumer through one's products whenever one can. It is wholly inexcusable to be slacken in providing service after sales facilities to the buyer. To quicken the pace of our industrial progress, we must respect the consumer. We must respect his choice, his likes, his urges, his aspiration, and his hard-earned money. Messrs. Ramji Meji Brothers Limited, Kailasnath Mansions, Hyderabad. Dear sir, we are in receipt of your letter which does not speak well of your firm. We had long contacts with you and this is never expected of you. We are greatly surprised by the attitude you now adopt. 6 weeks ago, you did not hesitate to accept our order, although we specially emphasized importance of prompt delivery not only of the first consignment, which was then urgently required, but also of the 3 consignments constituting the balance. The steel bars arrived 2 days late, and as we pointed out in our last letter, you did not offer any explanation of the delay. We received the steel plates on the date specified, but the quality of 50% of them was so bad that we had to return them. The girders, which also arrived 2 days late, were not sent in accordance with our detailed instructions, and you now say that you are not in a position to deliver the steel frames. Further, without stating any reasons for the delay, you inform us that we must wait until the end of next week for these frames. You ignore our question about the delivery date of the plates, which on Monday last you promised to send by Friday to replace those returned, and you refer to the girders in a way that suggests you expect us to pay the difference in price between those ordered and those sent, although we agreed to accept them on condition that the price remained unaltered. You should also realize that this sort of trade tricks will not be conducive to efficient and smooth working of business. Your actions should be reciprocative. We are not accustomed to such unbusiness-like and unsatisfactory treatment and cannot understand your methods. Please note that the balance of our order must be delivered at our works not later than the end of this week, and that unless we have by written a satisfactory and a reasonable explanation of your negligence and breach of contract, We shall not let you have any of your further necessary inquiries in future. Yours faithfully.